In this segment of the Ellis Martin Report, Ellis speaks with Scott Petsel, president of Metallic Minerals, trading as MMG on the TSX Venture Exchange and as MMNGF in the U.S. on the OTCQB. Metallic Minerals is a growth stage exploration company focused on the acquisition and development of high-grade silver and gold projects within underexplored districts proven to produce top-tier assets. The company's objective is to create value through a disciplined, systematic approach to exploration, reducing investment risk and maximizing probability of long-term success. Their core Keno Silver Project is located in the historic Keno Hill Silver District of Canada's Yukon Territory, a region which has produced over 200 million ounces of silver and currently hosts one of the world's highest-grade silver resources. Metallic's La Plata Silver Gold Copper Project is located in the high-grade La Plata district of the prolific Colorado Mineral Belt. The company is also building a portfolio of gold royalties in the historic Klondike Gold District. Metallic Minerals is led by a team with a track record of discovery and exploration success, including large-scale development, permitting, and project financing.
Scott, welcome back to the program. It's been a long time. How come?
That's a great question. We're busy, man. We're busy. We're working on stuff. We're trying to get stuff going. It's been a tough market, but we are making progress and working hard towards our objectives and having some success in doing that. So we're happy to be advancing our projects.
I've actually walked the ground in the Yukon. It's right next door to the former Alexco project taken out by Hecla Mining. I see you as a takeout candidate for them or other suitors. I realize you can't say who, you can't say when, but I have to take note that Newmont topped off their shares just a short while ago.
Yeah, I think we're in a really good place. We have a lot of optionality towards our property package and what we can do to help monetize some of these assets to really help us focus on our La Plata project there in Colorado, that alkalic porphyry system with great potential as a copper, silver, gold, platinum, and palladium resource in a growth phase. And so we're looking at various options. Like I said, we have many, particularly with ways to raise money, non-dilutive ways to raise money for our shareholders. And one of those might be the monetization of our Keno Silver Project. Not necessarily a done deal because we still see value potential on the project. We just came out with an inaugural resource, and in this market, it's not garnered a lot of attention because we've been working on the project for a while, but it's an 18 million ounce resource that is at 233 gram per ton silver equivalent grade. And so there is a combination of both high grade, narrow vein, typical Keno district style mineralization, but also these discoveries that we've made over the last few years in the wider zones of lower grade, up to 177 meters wide of that 50 to 100 gram per ton grade that are open pitable at surface or very near surface. And that's essentially the rehashing of something that used to happen historically. Back in the 70s and 80s in the Keno district, the old timers were looking for high grade and they mined smaller pits around the district, particularly over Birmingham and over Hector Calumet that are now part of the Hecla package. And we're seeing that opportunity on the east side of the district that's really underexplored. Our resource represents 3 areas that are potentially open pitable at a much reduced development cost, and then our Formo target area, which is an in-holding within the Hecla ground near the mill and near their Birmingham development that is a narrow, high-grade underground, typical Keno-style deposit. All of these have a lot of room to grow. So this 18 million ounces is a starter resource with the ability to quickly be expanded because we put 18 million ounces together on the backs of just 18,000 meters of drilling. So for every meter of drilling we're doing, we're finding 1,000 ounces of silver. And now that we've had a few years on the property, we know where to drill, we know how to expand these resources, and those resources are only 4 targets out of 11 that have been drilled successfully, and 40 others that have not been tested by drilling yet. A really good place to be with our Keno project, and it is attracting interest, and we'll just see where we get to.
What are some of the things that you're doing to be able to fund further drilling and exploration in order that you don't dilute the share structure. Tell us about that.
It goes back into this idea of how we might be able to
Monetize.
or perhaps potentially a spin out. Everything's on the table. But the other way that I think is significant to our company and not the norm in the venture junior space here is that we have this gold royalty portfolio in the famous Klondike Gold District in northern Yukon. 20 million ounces of historic production in that district that's famous for the gold rush of 1898. We have properties that are currently optioned out. Particularly last year, we saw over 1,000 ounces of production from Parker Schnabel of Gold Rush Television in his startup year on the project. I think it was 1,300 ounces. And we took between a 10 and 20% royalty on that production. And so this is a way with over 36 kilometers of streams captured in the Klondike district. Parker only has a 5-kilometer section. We have a way to continue to permit additional sections, find additional operators, increase that revenue to somewhere between $1 million and $2 million a year to the company if we're successful in moving those projects forward. I think that's a really interesting way for us to pay for back office expenses, supplement our exploration, and minimize the dilution to our shareholders.
You make me want to drop everything, get a pickup truck up in the Yukon and pan for gold in those streams, and just, why should I even do anything else when it's just right there? We're coming into the summer. I could work for months. I don't even have to go to sleep. I can just drink a lot of Red Bull, work through the night. The sun's never going to fully set, and come back with a ton of money there. You don't want me saying that out loud. You don't want people doing that are listening to the program. You want to be left alone up there, but I've been there and I've seen the excitement and I've seen some of that placer, some of that alluvial gold.
Here's what I would tell you. As a fan of Red Bull, I like the low-calorie version, the diet. I call it Diet Red Bull. It would be a fun summer to spend up there. I spent working all day long. But the thing that I think should be mentioned here is that if you have that urge, and a lot of people do, they can give us a call because we have properties that they can take on, which eliminates 30% of the work, the effort to get involved in that dream. And call us. We've got properties. You might be interested in taking your pick and shovel out there and spending the summer in the Yukon.
One of our mutual friends is Bill Harris, who is a big prospector in the Yukon, responsible for a lot of companies' success. And he's a friend. And a while ago, I would say probably 2 years ago, he mentioned that this land is available. And I think it was well over 30 kilometers of placer gold, that if you knew what you were doing, even if you don't, you can learn just by being in the area. If you have enough resources to set up, I don't know what you would need to work placer other than a panning for gold in the ground, but he presented me with that opportunity in case I knew of anyone. And you're saying, even though you have this deal with
Parker Schnabel?
Even though you have this deal with Parker, there's plenty of property available, and it's a great way for you to fund not only what you're doing in the Yukon, but what you're doing in Colorado, which I want to talk about, because you're saying that part of your motivation to develop what you've had in the Yukon forever is to really look at the mother lode that you believe that you have in Colorado, and that intrigues me. Let's talk about it.
The one thing I'll say about Bill Harris is he's a dear friend and, of course, a friend of both of us, but he is currently with one of our geologists in Dawson City at the Dawson City Gold Show, talking about our properties this weekend with other potential alluvial miners that are interested in leasing ground. It's a roundup of all the placer miners in the area, and we're there representing this weekend. It's probably too late for a lot of you to get up there, but that is happening, and that should reap some benefits for us in our representation there. But yes, so we've talked about Keno. We see value at Keno. We've talked about how we're generating revenue through our alluvial projects. A lot of the aim is directed at our interest in our La Plata project in southwest Colorado. And this is something that we acquired in 2019. We drilled a spectacular hole in 2022. We took that core to PDAC in early 2023. The big convention in Toronto showed, we had just announced it via news release the week prior to the conference, and it attracted a lot of attention. And by the end of that week, we had Newcrest interested in making us an offer because they recognized that this project was very similar to all the deposits they had been mining, not only in Australia, but up in northern British Columbia, Red Chris, Cadia. It's the same signature. And they said, we like weird porphyries, and this looks like a weird porphyry. and they like it. It's weird because it has all these precious metal credits, including platinum and palladium with it. They got interested. By the end of the week at PDAC, they said they wanted to do a deal with us, and we negotiated a strategic placement from them. We brought 6.3 million into the company. We parlayed that into a 4,500 meter drill program last year and drilled 4 deep holes, the deepest of which was 1,350 meters, which had mineralization at the end of it. So we're seeing a very extensive system. The drilling that we did returned zones of 900 meters at 0.26 to 0.35 and smaller zones of 500 meters at 0.4 and 200 meters at 0.5 and 50 meters at 0.6. Those kinds of numbers, really interesting numbers that indicate the system is really quite expansive. And it's helped us understand, because there was a limited amount of historic drilling, these new holes with the new technology, full analysis, geochemical analysis, and applied geology, learn enough about the system to vector to new high grade. And not only that, we put a significant amount of time into work on new surface targets around the Allard resource. That resource is a 1.3 billion pound resource that we think can expand significantly, and that's an equivalent resource. But we've identified 3 or 4 targets that are drill ready right now that have never been drilled historically that we think will have similar results to what we've seen at La Plata. This is really still an early stage. Yes, we've defined a resource. That resource has room to grow, but the project, the scale of the system, which we control, has not been fully tested. So that opportunity for new discovery, higher grade, much more tonnage or pounds or ounces, however you like to look at it, in potential on the project with more work. So we're super excited about that.
Is it a district-sized project potentially? I don't know exactly how much ground you have. Forgive me for not knowing, but how large can this be?
It's an overused word, is that district scale opportunity, but I will use it again. District scale opportunity here. We have this district under our control, and it is roughly 8 by 10 kilometers. So when you look at the footprint of alteration, I'm gauging this basically on you think about porphyry systems where you have this intrusive rock coming up from the magmas at depth and penetrating the layers of surface of the earth. It's bringing hot fluids, and those fluids are altering the rocks around it. We see this system in total 10 kilometers northeast southwest, 8 kilometers northwest southeast, and we see that footprint, that alteration resulting from the intrusion and the associated epithermal vein systems, which are narrow vein systems that contain gold, silver, and telluride mineralization that were mined historically. So not only do we have the porphyritic center with the high and low grade copper mineralization that has silver, gold, platinum, and palladium, but we have the surrounding envelope of epithermal vein systems with gold, silver, telluride that we have also yet to do any exploration work, because we've been pretty focused on the copper and the results from 2022 to this point.
How's the jurisdiction in Colorado?
I think it's been really good. You imagine we've been there exploring since 2019 without any significant pushback. It does take a little bit longer time-wise to work through the system with the Forest Service and local regulations. We're committed to doing that and doing it right and showing that we care about where we're at. And so that's an effort we're putting forth. And I think we're seeing the benefits of that through our ability to continue to work.
Are you getting some of your longtime shareholders interested in accumulating more?
Of course, yeah. And certainly internally, we're adding shares. And I think it's an interesting play. What I would say is that we have put a significant amount of effort into all of our 3 key assets there with significant results. Inaugural resources on both projects in the last couple of years, alluvial royalty production on our alluvial portfolio, and these are really positive developments that have not been fully recognized, I think, in our share price. So when you think back to pre-pandemic, when we hadn't drilled a single hole at our La Plata project yet, we had a share price around 80 cents for a while. and a market cap of around 100 million. And we've done nothing but better work improving our prospects and building resources and adding tangible value to the company. And it's not been recognized because of the market conditions. And so I think we're really well situated. And if the market turns and we continue to deliver on the things that we say we're going to do, then we're going to be very successful and our shareholders are going to be very happy.
I'm going to encourage our listeners right now to take a look at metallic minerals. Go to the website mmgsilver.com. Pull up the chart on your Apple Stock app where you can find us usually. You'll find this interview there. And take a look where the company's been, what the market is like now, and the potential of where it could be again and beyond. Scott, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for joining me today in the program. I look forward to our next interview and seeing you in person again somewhere on the planet.
Ellis, I really enjoyed it, and likewise, we'll talk soon.
We've been speaking with Scott Petsel, president of Metallic Minerals, trading as MMG on the TSX Venture Exchange and as MMNGF in the U.S. on the OTCQB. For more information, go to the company's website, metallic-minerals.com. That's metallic-minerals.com. This is the Ellis Martin Report.
Would you like to be one of the first to see who we are following? Subscribe to our audio newsletter. It's free. EllisMartinReport.com.